Hi, we're underneath the hood of a 1970 Chevelle SS style car, 454. It is definitely a 454 engine in the car. We'll go over everything that we can, everything that we can see. We're going to point out to you. It does have a cowl induction hood, and it does have all the workings of a cowl induction hood. However, it doesn't have the correct air cleaner. A lot of guys decide to put on just a small 14-inch chrome air cleaner as opposed to the big cowl induction style that pretty much covers up the entire engine. It's a lot nicer looking motor whenever you open the hood and you see this, as opposed to big cowl induction air cleaner with snorkel off the side of it. Chrome valve pine covers with the Chevy designated sticker on the side of it. Air gap, Edelbrock aluminum intake manifold. It is an oval port motor, so it's going to be similar to an LS5 engine that's in this vehicle right now. It does have a Carter AFB Edelbrock carburetor on it. Has a vintage air system with a polished compressor, chrome plated alternator, which is absolutely brand new. It does have disc brakes on this particular car, being an SS. Does have a dual stage master cylinder in it with a power brake booster. Has power steering. It has a billet reservoir on this side for the power steering fluid. Really high-end billet drive system on the front of this vehicle. It does have an aluminum water pump also. The billet system that they used is for a serpentine belt, and all your pulleys are aluminum. The water pump drive, alternator, air conditioning, vibration damper, everything is billet aluminum on this vehicle. Very high-end. At least a 4-pass, big, huge, wide aluminum radiator in this vehicle also, with the correct shroud that comes with this vehicle, and 2 electric cooling fans as opposed to a mechanical fan. Air conditioning condenser in the front, nice fresh lines. Overflow reservoir for the radiator. MSD ignition coil and the complete ignition system, including the distributor. Does have a set of pretty large, I'm going to call them 2 1/8. They're wrapped. They're at least 2-inch, probably 2 1/8 headers on this vehicle, long tube header system on it. The fender wells are semi-flat black, just the way they should be from the factory. No leaks whatsoever evident on the valve pan covers or the intake manifold or the front of the motor. I don't see anything evident whatsoever on this particular car. This engine compartment's as straight and clean and nice as you're going to ever find one. Devin will get you some defined pictures of it under the hood here so that you can see exactly what we're talking about. Does also have the heating lines hooked up for the passenger compartment, along with the air conditioning lines with the polished vintage air compressor. Really a great engine compartment to look at. Hood's all finished in gloss black underneath. Chrome parts on the air cleaner. What isn't chrome is polished aluminum. Great looking engine compartment. Let's go over the rest of the car, see what we have. Hi, you're in Daytona Beach, Florida at Hanksters, and today we're going to present to you a 1970 Chevelle. We really believe this to be a real SS car. All indicators are that it is. We'll show you on the undercarriage what would designate it as an SS car. There's no way to tell without documentation, but all the indicators tell us that it is a correct Chevelle SS. So we're going to go over it with you and point out everything we can cosmetically first. Okay, going over the car, obviously it's black and it has a foot deep paint job on it. The paint on this car is just really exemplary. Really nice finish on the car. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. They're very finite, but there are like ghost stripes. They're put on exactly like SS stripes should be, only they're kind of a goldish tint and they're cleared over. You can't feel them. You can hardly see them, but they're there. They're like a ghost set of SS stripes, front and rear, on this car. So hopefully Devin can get you some good still pictures that you can see the definition of what they've done with the paint on this car. At any rate, it is absolutely show quality. It's absolutely beautiful. It's stunning. The whole fit, the finish, everything on this car. Nice fitment of the hood, about 1/8 of an inch, whole way around it, going clean up to the base of the windshield on this vehicle. Hood pins, the way an SS would have them. SS designation on an SS grille in the front, blacked out with trimmed anodized aluminum the whole way around, the way it should be. Also the headlights, you can see the bezels are beautiful. They're really beautiful condition. No pits, no marks whatsoever on them. None. Front bumper fitment. Spot on. There is no way you could fit this bumper any better than it is right now. Parking lights, clear lenses, just crystal clear the way they should be. There's no dings or marks or chips in the chrome on the front bumper. The front end of this car is absolutely stunning. I hope you can see those ghost stripes. They really add to the look of this car. Obviously they're not original the way they are, but the placement is original. It's just that the material itself, it's like a darker gold color against the black. Really looks good. Really has a lot of stun to it. Nice looking. Let's see what we can find on the driver's side. Okay, driver's side. Side marker light, just as nice as can be. Nice and flush fitment. No dingies in the fender lip molding. SS454 designation, because that's what this guy is. Nice fitment, front fender to the door. Really as nice as you're ever going to find one. Trim around the back, around the windshield. Really nice condition. Tinted window in this car. It does have air conditioning, so it does have a tinted window. Transition of where the dashboard comes down to the base of the windshield is really nice. I mean, there's no marks, no issues whatsoever. Absolutely none. Nice clear VIN plate here for you to see. Correct wiper arms, incorrect blades. They're more of an Anco black plastic blade that's on the car right now. More efficient than the original equipment ones, but not original. Obviously a black vinyl top. No marks whatsoever underneath it. Really nice installation of the black vinyl top. There's no pitting, no marks or anything. No places where the vinyl is starting to lift on the vinyl top. Absolutely none. The drip rail is as new and perfect as you could find. There's no marks whatsoever. The original equipment style mirror from 1970. New wipes and whiskers for the doors, front and rear. And where the rubber comes onto the finish of the car, it's absolutely flawless. Look, you can't even put a fingernail underneath it anywhere. Nowhere. Really nice. Paint on the door down to the rocker panel. This is as nice as you're ever going to find one of these cars. There's nothing so far for us to adjust. Absolutely nothing. Door handle really nice and clean. The chrome as fresh as can be. Quarter panel. Wheel lift molding, again, just as nice as the front one, nice as can possibly be. Chrome piece, nice, no pitting whatsoever. Stainless steel down to another chrome section here. Little tiny bit of a dingy right here in this piece of trim. Nothing on the right side that I can see. Tinted glass in the back. Hatch shelf is really nice condition. Looks like it's pulling loose a little bit on this section over here. We're going to have to address that and put it back into place. 2 aftermarket speakers in it. Back to the side marker on the rear of the vehicle. Sail panel, everything on this thing is as straight as you could possibly find one. 20-inch torque thrust style polished aluminum wheels on this vehicle. You get this to the front, drums in the rear. Huge set of tires to fill this wheel well up in the back. Really a great look with this vehicle. You know, the black with the polished wheels on it. I can't see a single thing on the driver's side of this vehicle. Absolutely nothing. Let's go around back, see what we can find there for you. Okay, back end of our 1970 Chevelle. Again, look at the paint on this thing. It's just totally amazing. This is absolutely as nice a quality paint job as you could ever hope for on any vehicle. This looks like something that should be on a Porsche or a Ferrari. That's how nice the finish is on this vehicle. Again, ghost stripes in the back to complement the ones in the front, done just the way they should be. as GM would lay them on, only this is like a ghost type gold to it. Really, really great looking combination with this black and the tan interior with the gold stripes on it. Looks great. Chevelle designation on the back. Back end of this car is up a little bit. I'm going to guess that it has a set of air shocks on it. It's got a set of 20-inch wheels, so it really has a pretty high stance to it. It really looks great the way it is. Fitment of this deck lid, you can see again, 1/8 of an inch the whole way around. You're not going to find much better than that. The bumper is just spot on. There's no way that you could fit that bumper any better on this car. Correct style exhaust tips out the back. Rear valance doesn't have any pulls on it. The argent plastic area around the tail lights on both sides. Just as nice as you'd ever want to find. A little tiny chip out of this one. Out of the plastic. A little tiny chip. Not that you'd replace it, but there is a little tiny chip out of it. SS designation with the rubber bumperette across the back end of these cars for 1970 only. And chrome on the bumper, the fitment, everything on the back end of this is the same as it was on the side or on the front. Can't find one much straighter or much better than that. There's one more side to go, but so far we found nothing. Okay, starting at the rear of our Chevelle, again, side marker light, just as nice as can be. Neglected to mention, this car is all tin too, by the way. There's no Bondo, no filler, no nothing in it. It's just as solid and straight as could be. Neglected to mention on that side, but this one I just didn't. You can hear it. It's absolutely as straight as can be. Trim around the back window on this side. No marks whatsoever. None. Hat rack appears to be alright on this side. It's pulled loose over there a little bit, the material on top of it. But we'll address that and put it back into place. Again, the vinyl top, just as sweet as you'd ever want to find. Drip rail molding the same way as the other side. Wipes, whiskers, spot on. You can't not get them any better than they are. Look at the fit on this thing. To the rocker panel, to the quarter panel. It's amazing. Totally amazing. Door handle, the chrome is flawless on it. Passenger side mirror, great addition. I love it when I see those on these vehicles. It's hard to drive without them. Again, trim around the window, same thing, base of the windshield just as nice as can be. Nice, soft, resilient. Yeah. Pad for the dash yet. Look. SS 454 again. Side marker light back where we started. And you just watch me. I went over this entire vehicle. There's going to be 80 or 90 defined photos for you to take a look at, still photographs that Devin's going to take of this vehicle so that you can look at it, take your time, go over it, make sure exactly what you're looking at. If you have any questions in addition to what we show you, please just call us. We'll be more than happy to take any additional photos or video or anything you need of the vehicle. This car is a 1970 Chevelle SS. I feel confident it's an SS. We do not have paperwork for the car or a protective plate, so there's no way to definitively show that it is, but it has every indication that it is. From the suspension, from all its appointments, it's an SS car. Non-numbers correct 454 in it, but it is a 454 error correct for the car. So you have a Chevelle with the finest paint job that you could ever have. Great interior, which we're going to show you in a minute here. Fantastic engine compartment, a great looking car, some huge rubber on this car, power steering, power brakes, and air conditioning too on top of that. A lot of billet material underneath the hood, additions to it that are really expensive to do. This car has it already done for you. Does have a cowl induction style hood on it, cowl induction designation on it. Fantastic condition car. This came out of Kevin's collection. He's had the car for a while, did not want to let it go because of the condition this car was in. And he's a Mopar guy and picked this car, so it gives you an idea of the quality of this vehicle. It's available here at Hanksters in Daytona Beach, Florida for a nominal price for what you're getting, and you have to really take a look at this car because it's over the top nice. Well, we're inside of our 1970 SS style Chevelle. The interior of this car is the same as the outside. It's just absolutely beautiful. It has a brand new headliner in it. They appear to be new. Sun visors, there's no marks whatsoever on the mirror. Just as nice a vehicle as you'd ever want to find. No cracks whatsoever on the SS designation steering wheel that's in this vehicle. Again, the dash is nice and resilient yet, and it does transition onto the windshield nice and cleanly. Aftermarket Chevrolet radio in it, but no one's hacked out the dash. That's a nice AM/FM stereo radio that's placed in the car at this point. It does have a tilt wheel also. It does have the SS gauge cluster in it, tachometer, speedometer, clock, temp gauge, fuel gauge, and amp gauge. SS designation on the door panels, which are absolutely flawless. They're like brand new. Same with the rear panels on this vehicle. Same exact way. Has the original equipment style headrests on it. The upholstery's been redone, all repadded, everything nice as can be. Generally, this would be a black interior or black seats to match everything black in this car. But the individual that did this and put the gold stripes on it apparently chose to put tan goldish colored front and rear seat and hat rack in this vehicle to help complement the gold ghost stripes that are on the vehicle. Really looks nice the way it is. I probably wouldn't change it. It has a nice look to it. Everything is brand new and crisp in it, the way it should be. Staple shift, center console, no marks, no cracks or anything on the plastic. The carpeting in this car is just as fresh and clean as you'd ever want to find. Again, the door panels are SS door panels for the front. All your window cranks in it are all new, front and back, or as new condition. I can't see a single thing in this thing that's out of place. Absolutely nothing. Interior in this car is just exemplary. It does have all the original equipment style gauge or movement for the air conditioning and heater and defroster. Additional oil pressure gauge. I can't see a single thing in this vehicle that's out of place. The interior in this car is just as nice as the outside of this car. It does have seat belts rear and front in this guy too, which is really unusual. You see them sometimes in the front, but not the rear. And this one even has the original holders for them alongside the console. It's a really, really great car. You really need to take a look at this. It's on the Hanksters Daytona website. Over the top 1970 Chevelle SS style car. Pilot running our 1970 SS Chevelle here. So let's see what we have. We have an amp gauge that is working. We have a temperature gauge that is coming up the way it should. Also another temp gauge down here that's functioning also, coming up. Fuel gauge that shows us between 1/4 and 1/2. A radio. It is working. Radio is working. Okay. Wipers actually function. Air conditioning blowing icicles. Nice cold air conditioning in the car. It is functioning. It is working. A horn that is not working. Our horn is not working. We definitely have to fix that. Tachometer is not working. We'll know if the speedometer is working here in a second, but tachometer is not working. But the clock's working. So you won't know how hard the motor's turning, but you'll definitely know what time it is. Okay, left turn signal is functioning. Right turn signal's functioning. Okay, so the only thing that isn't functioning is the horn and the tachometer from what I can see from this point. Everything else is the way it should be. Check this out, tilt wheel. Tilt steering wheel. Yeah, everything else looks like it works except for those two items. Well, at least with the clock, you won't be late for dinner. Looks like it should. Doing a great job for us. Tranny shifts nice and firm and clean every shift. First, second, third. We have to wait till we get up this grade a little bit because it always pulls, every car pulls to the left there. Let's see how it stops with the hands on the wheel. And a little bit of a pull to the left. A little pull to the left when we put the brakes on. Nice solid running car though. Very positive steering on it. Someone must have changed the steering box because these normally they're not that steering responsive as this car is. Nice tight steering in it. Nice pull to it. Nice car. Nice to stay in it there for a while, but it just cost me $300 the last time I did that with the Cobra Jet. It was worth it though. That's $300 I overspent. Nice tight running car. Try the brakes again here after we use them a couple times. See if that helps us out. Let's try it again here. Okay, that's all it was. It's not pulling to the left anymore. It's just that this guy hadn't been used for a while, and that one brake must have been dragging, but now it stopped straight. Hi, we're underneath our 1970 Chevelle SS car, a super sport car, and a real one. We don't have documentation, but I'll show you why it is a real Chevelle and indicators that you can tell by it. For one thing, it has disc brakes in the front, has a huge heavy-duty sway bar on it, has newer sway bar bushings on it with the Zerk fittings, new hardware on the discs, real nice fat rotors on it. Kind of a little bit of a leak on the steering system here. It looks like the one hose we're going to have to address. There's a little bit of a leakage from that hose from what I can determine. Nothing in the front of the engine. High torque starter on it. Cooling lines for the transmission going back toward the tranny. The box frame in the front is just as nice as you'd ever find. All the markings and all your holes are still there from the factory. No jack marks or anything on the rectangular subframes in the front. One jack mark right there on the seat channel frame. Another one here. Someone put jack marks or jacks there through the years. Just commonplace on these vehicles. Big tube headers on this. I'm going to call them 1 7/8", maybe even a 2-inch primary tube on these headers. Pretty fat set of headers on this thing. 3.5-inch collector. Going into a 3-inch pipe that transitions back toward the mufflers. The floor substructures are really nice on this car. In fact, I don't see anything that's been replaced floor-wise on this car. It all looks original. It absolutely looks original. Even the crimpings on the rocker panels where they transition to are all original. Newer converter in it. Looks like a smaller converter, so it's a stall converter, probably a 2,500 RPM stall converter. New flywheel with it. A little tiny bit of a oil seepage here. This is a Milligan pan too. I'm going to call it 8.5 quart. It'll be somewhere right about that. It's obviously a extra volume pan. It does have a little bit of seepage, but it's coming from the gasket where the drain hole is. So whenever we change the oil, I'm sure that situation will be rectified. There is some seepage also on the oil pan itself, which is a deeper pan for the turbo tranny on this vehicle. Again, that's something that we have to address. Obviously, we're going to do that before we ship the car. But it does, I'm showing there is leakage there. There is leakage here. A little tiny bit of seepage on the power steering that we have to address prior to our shipping this car to you. Again, substructures on the floor is just as nice as can possibly be. There's no dents in the floor pans or the structural supports underneath the pans themselves. Wow, these 3-inch pipes are really going to let this thing breathe. No leaks in the back of the transmission or anything on top. This is definitely oil pan right here. There's no reason to suspect that it's anything else. No, it's not coming out of the front of the tranny at all. This is oil pan, so we'll change the oil in it, new gaskets. It'll be happy. Going back on the frame, the fuel lines are all intact just the way they should be. Brake lines the same way on this side. Going toward the rear. A little splatter undercoating here and there from the factory sound deadener that was put on back in 1970 that all the companies used at that point. We're halfway back through this car, and honestly I can't see anything other than the few little items that we have to address ourselves. But there's absolutely nothing wear-wise or dent-wise or anything that has to be addressed underneath the undercarriage of this vehicle. Fantastic looking SS car. Big heavy sway bar, discs. This is a nice guy. Real nice car. Let's see what's on the second half for you. Okay, second half of our 70 SS car. Again, the C-channel frame, couple of little jack marks here and there. Same thing on this side, a couple more on this side from being held up by jack stands or a jack through the years. Then the C-channels transitioned back onto a full box frame toward the rear here for our torque boxes for the spring, well, it's not actually spring, it's for our swing arm assemblies, which again, for an SS car, they're boxed in, and you can see these are boxed in swing arms. That was F41 suspension SS only. And this is an F41 car. Huge heavy-duty sway bar, rear sway bar, and of course SS would have the boxed-in swing arms. 3-inch pipes going into 2 turbo-style mufflers. They're 3-inch out also. Wow. Somebody was serious about putting an exhaust system on this thing. Now it's 3-inch pipes out also. 12-bolt Chevy rear, again, big block SS car. Heavy-duty drum brakes in the rear. Original gas tank still intact, not a replacement. Where the box frame transitions back onto C-channel, again, there's no marks or jack-up marks or dings or anything in it. No pull marks from being hauled through the years. The bracelet goes across the back between the 2 C-channel pieces, just the way it was in 1970. It's not pulled or bent or twisted or anything else. New U-joint in the back. New U-joint in the front. Parking brake still in the back part, but we don't have a parking brake cable coming back. It's another item for us to address on this vehicle prior to shipping it to someone. But it does have the, it does have the parking brake assemblies in the back. We just have to do it from the pedal back. It'll be a U-shaped piece and a bracket that mounts onto the subframe there to actuate the rear parking brakes in this thing. So no big deal. We'll fix it. Car is really outstanding underneath. I don't see a single thing here. The floor pan area the same way, totally undisrupted. Your 4-link rear the way it should be on these SS cars. Totally just the way it was in 1970. It's a great looking car. Pipe touching, because of the huge size of these pipes, that particular pipe is touching that top link, and so is this one. We're going to have to twist those pipes just a little bit to let them give them a little release so that we don't have any rattling in the back of this car. Air shocks in the back, which are also new to match the new ones that we have up front. This is a really great representation of a 1970 Chevelle. It's not a correct numbers car, but it is over the top quality and fit and finish wise. Plus I really believe it is an SS car. All the indicators show us that it is. So you got a really great car for a 1970 Chevelle here. This is about as nice a one as you're ever going to find. So take a look at it here at Hankster's.